Shalom, brothers and sisters, from wherever you're watching from. I hope you're well. I hope your week has been fine. Yes, welcome to this week's episode. We're doing from the book of Genesis, chapter 8. It's a continuation of what we did last week. That is chapter 7 of the book of Genesis. And we saw actually the God's plan through Noah, and the floods, and the people, and what God did actually after people or people's hearts were inclined into doing evil things. And today we are looking actually at a continuation of chapter 8 of chapter 7, sorry. And it is now after the rains are stopped, and the only people who are remaining on this earth for mankind is Noah, the wife, his children, that is Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and the 3 wives. And then the other things, that is the other living creatures, the ones whom or which were preserved actually, also are on the face of the earth. And at this time we see Noah actually, the Bible says, but God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and the livestock that were within the ark, that he sent a wind over the earth, and the waters rescinded. Now the springs of the deep and the floodgates of heavens had been closed, and the rains had stopped falling from the sky. The water rescinded steadily from the earth. At the end of 150 days, the Bible records, waters had gone down, and on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountain of Ararat. The waters continued to descend, until the 10th month, and the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountain became visible. Imagine how great or how big these floods were. They took almost 3 months for water to descend up to where actually the ark could have resided, that is on the top of mountain of Ararat. And the Bible also records that actually it took another 10 months for the tops of the mountains to become visible. Another 3 months for the tops of the mountain to become visible. And in verse 6, the Bible says, after 40 days, that is after another month, in 10 days, Noah opened the window and he had made in the ark and sent out a raven, and it kept flying back and forth until the waters had dried up from the earth. The Bible records, then he sent out a dove to see if the waters had descended from the surface of the ground, but the dove could not found nowhere to perch, because there was water over the surface of the ark. So it returned to Noah in the ark. He reached out his hand and took the dove and brought it back himself in the ark. He waited 7 more days, again that is a week, and again sent out dove from the ark. When the dove returned to him in the evening, its beak was with fleshy pluck of olive leaf. Then Noah knew the waters had descended from the earth. He waited 7 more days and sent dove out again, but this time it did not return to him. By the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year, the water had dried up from the earth. Noah then removed the covering from the ark, and so that the surface of the ground was dry. by the 27th day of the second month, the earth was completely dry. Look at how actually precise God is with seasons, and actually even giving the actual times. After 7 days, after 2 months, after 3 months, this happened. After 4 months, this happened. After 7 days, Noah does this. After 7, actually the Bible goes on recording each and everything actually in accordance to its time. And this is to show actually how God actually is concerned even with the times and the seasons. In verse 15, the Bible says, "Then God said to Noah, come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out every living creature that is with you, the birds, the animals, the creatures that move along the ground, so they can multiply, so that they can multiply on the earth. Be fruitful, increase in number on it." So God actually goes back to commanding them. The first command he gave to Adam and Eve, and also the first command he gave actually to the living creatures on the 6th day when he created them. And he's telling them, you guys, you have now to multiply again. Go, be fruitful and increase in number. Now, in verse 18, the Bible says, "So Noah came out together with his sons and his wife and his sons' wives, all the animals and all the creatures that move along the ground, and all the birds, everything that moves on the land came out of the ark, one kind after another." The Bible records in verse 20 and says, "Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, taking some of all the clean animals and the clean birds, he sacrificed burnt offering on it. The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, never again will I curse the ground because of humans, even though every inclination of the human heart is evil from the childhood, and never again will I destroy living creatures as I have done." Verse 22 records, "As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease." Now, look at this in the last part of this chapter. There's something actually that happens when people decide actually to thank God, because what I see mostly with sacrifices, they are mostly as an act of thanksgiving. And Noah decides, because of this act that God did of saving me and my family and some of the animals, I will give sacrifice to him. But look at what he chooses. The Bible records that he took all the clean animals and clean birds and sacrificed them as burnt offerings. The Bible says the Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart. It is out of this pleasing aroma that makes God say these beautiful words, "Never again will I curse the ground because of humans, even though every inclination of humans' hearts is evil from childhood, and never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done." Brothers and sisters, this is so beautiful to see the same God who was full of fury and anger in the previous chapter, saying that, I will wipe out all these people. And he does that, but because of this beautiful sacrifice that is given by this one person who is determined actually to walk with the Lord, the Lord's heart actually is in comfort. And this is what he says again, "I have changed my mind. Never again will I do this." Maybe God is waiting for us, guys, Maybe this country of ours is on these cases or in these cases because we have not done anything. This might be our high time to give sacrifices, not necessarily of clean animals the way Noah did, but we need to seek the Lord to understand which kind of sacrifices He needs. The Bible records actually in the book of Romans chapter 12 that we need to offer our bodies as living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to Him. Have you thought of this beautiful calling that God has been calling us? The calling of righteousness, calling of walking into His faithfulness with Him day and day and day, taking each day at a time, ensuring that we live a life that brings praises to Him. Is He praised actually in our doings every day? Does He receive praises actually in our jobs? Does He receive actually praises in what we do? Does He receive praises in our acts? May He help us, brothers and sisters, that He will find us in a place whereby He can receive praises in all that we do. And let us not forget every day, every minute, every second, to give our bodies as living sacrifices, holy and acceptable to Him, that in all things He will find it good to bless us, and will find us having it walked faithfully and righteous in His eyes. I'm looking for that time when He calls us home, and I know there are people who will be told, welcome. Yeah, you are a faithful and a good servant to me. Have rest. Have your rest. But some of us, we might not be there. My prayer is we may not miss that beautiful place, having it lived with Him for this whole time. May He continue blessing you. In case you have more of this, please drop it on the comment section. In case you have a question, feel free to ask. May God bless you. May God be with you. Shalom, brothers and sisters.